really happy to be here today with you and to moderate this panel on a topic which I find very relevant and important, especially regarding the topic of the Expo 2020, connecting minds and creating the future. A future which I deeply believe that should involve women in general and encourage the inclusion of women in sciences in particular. So I would like to thank first the organization committees of both Pavillon, Moroccan Pavillon, as well as Women Pavillon, where we are here today. I'm Maha Gmira, Professor of Artificial Intelligence at Euromed University of Fes in Morocco. So I'm going to introduce myself very quickly. I get my bachelor in engineering from Polytechnique Montréal in Canada. Then I worked as an engineer in an aerospace company, an American aerospace company. In 2014, I came back to school, to the university's bench, to do my master in mathematics and my PhD in artificial intelligence. In one of the world's excellence centers in North America, a Canada Excellence Chair in Data Science for Real-Time Decision Making. After coming back to Morocco, my home country actually, I'm involved in several research projects, lying from mobility to agriculture and smart manufacturing. Last year, on May 2021, I was awarded chairholder of Women in Sciences Artificial Intelligence Chair, which is an academic chair, by the way, promoting AI among women and girls. Allow me please to present our first speaker, Professor Rajah Sharkawi El-Morsli. Rajah Sharkawi El-Morsli is a professor of physics at Mohammed V University in Rabat. Sharkawi received her PhD in nuclear physics at the University Joseph Fourier in Grenoble, France. Early 1982, she joined the Faculty of Sciences at University Mohammed V in Rabat as a researcher professor. Later on 1996, she was serving as head of the Laboratory of Nuclear Physics. With her professional expertise, Dr. Rajah Sharkawi had created and implemented several master's degree programs at the university. One of her crucial roles was the building and strengthening the first master's program in medical physics in Morocco. She became vice president for research, innovation, cooperation, and partnership at Mohammed V University from 2013 until 2017. She was part of the official Morocco's foreign runners participants in the international Atlas collaboration at CERN in Geneva in 1996. And in 2015, Professor Sharkawi received L'Oréal UNESCO Award for Women in Science as a laureate representing Africa and the Arab states. Rajah Sharkawi is the first Moroccan woman to win L'Oréal UNESCO Science Award. In 2019, she was elected Vice President for Policy Review and Administration of the Board of the Network of African Science Academy, which is the NASAC. Recently, last year, she holds first place across the board in Morocco, Africa, and the Arab League, and globally, she enters top 15 of AD Scientific Index. Professor Rajah, it's my pleasure to welcome you on the floor.
Thank you, Maha. So, my presentation. I can stay there.
You don't need your computer to see your presentation, so that's okay.
So, like Maha presents me, I am professor at the Mohammed V University in Morocco, and I am member of the National Academy of Science in Morocco. And it's a pleasure for me to be there. For me, it's very important. It is important for me to be there and to present, and for me it's important to push young women to be in science, because some of them are very good in science, but they don't go to science. And today I will present briefly, but I will try to present some important achievements in my career, and I will present my experience in achieving gender equality in science. Briefly, I will give some challenges along my career. The first one is regarding my research. The biggest challenge, I have many challenges in my research, but the biggest one is to involve Morocco in the international Atlas collaboration. It's the first country in Africa to be there. In the beginning, when I spoke about that, all people say you are crazy. We are in developing country. We are not in a rich country. And for me, it's important because we have exactly the same mind. We are not different. All people are the same. And to be a partner in design and construction of one of the Atlas subdetector. I am presenting here Atlas. What is Atlas? It's a big experience, the biggest one in the world. And it's 46 meter long, 25 meter wide and high, and composed with different subdetectors. And in Morocco, it's very important. We have some, the trust is important. We have some subdetector inside the detector. This detector, when he is construct, it's difficult to open it. But now we open it. I will explain why. I will give more detail about that. Regarding the family life, it is important to keep a balance between family and work because the education for children are very important. But also, I want to emphasize that if a woman is in science, she will try to have children in this area. It's not easy. Yeah? And in the workplace, I remarked that there is more demand on women. If women in there, we ask them to give more than men. Here, I am sure you all have heard about Big Bang. But if I ask you, can you explain what Big Bang? Difficult. I think it's normal because I am a physicist. And for me, it's not easy to explain what's the Big Bang. If you look, it's the Big Bang model. We have here the Big Bang model. The Big Bang, after that, you have all the universe, all the things around us. And the question, how from nothing, only energy, the energy, we have no particle, and particle which agglomerate to give the universe around us. It's amazing. But scientific will try to give some response. And for that, we will try to construct a big accelerator. And this accelerator is at CERN in Geneva. The CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research. And this accelerator, it's LHC, Large Hadron Collider. He will try to recreate the condition less than 1 billionth of a second after the Big Bang. So we need many, many people to do that. So it is important to give women, all people, try to have a response of question around us, why we have that. So here, it is very important. And I will give you here the LHC. The Large Hadron Collider is, here is you have a ring of 27 kilometers circumference, and it's 100 meters underground, and it's spanned between France and Switzerland. And around this LHC, we will put experience, and you have Atlas there. What is LHC? It's a big collider. We will have two beams in opposite direction, and we will try to collide them in the middle of each experience. And we will want what's happened in the beginning in our universe, just after the Big Bang, because we have some particle who have there, and now we have not this particle, but what's happened exactly? And so around the LHC, you have we have many little experiments, but you have four who are very important. You have ALICE, ATLAS, CMS, and LHCb. CMS and ATLAS do exactly the same thing. They are looking, I am sure you heard about Higgs particles. So I will try to show you what's Higgs particle, why it is very important, but why all people talk about that. I prefer to talk here about the Higgs particles. At the beginning, I show you here the Big Bang. At the beginning, all the model in physics, how we work, we have a model, some theoretical physics, we give models, and you can see where is the right model. But if you have an experiment result, you can say this is a good model. So here, one of the model in 1964, they say that after the Big Bang, first, for us, we have nothing. But we have some field. And the first people who discovered that, or proposed that, is Higgs, Professor Higgs. You have a field, we call him Higgs field. And if a particle interacts with this field, it will have a mass. If a particle didn't, for the beginning, we have no mass. No mass. All particles have no mass. If this particle don't interact with this field, she will have no mass. And you have the photon here. The photon have no mass because he didn't interact with this field. And so here you have the 4 detectors. And in the beginning, I showed the ATLAS detectors. It's very big, very, very big. And for that, we have to create a collaboration, international collaboration. We will call this collaboration the ATLAS collaboration. You saw here in yellow color all the countries who are in this collaboration, and you say, you look, you have Morocco. And we have about 2,000 currently institutions, about from 38 countries. And you have always more than 1,000 students, PhD students or master students from the world. And Morocco is the only Arab country and was until 2009 the only African country. Because when the LHC, in the beginning, all the country, in all TV, you say, we have all the continent. And they say, you have Africa? Yes, we have Morocco, of course. 1 week after that, South Africa are there in 2000. And Morocco began in this collaboration at 1996. So it's very important to show that. And in 2012, we discover particles. We call them new particles and Higgs particles. And so we have many models. And the particle we discover is exactly the same proposed by the physicists you see here, François Englert and Peter Higgs, who proposed a model. And we discover exactly particles who have exactly the same condition, the same properties, the same mass. And this is very important. And nobody would have thought in 1996, a developing country in Morocco would be part of one of the most important discoveries of 21st century. And this is very important to show that you can, all countries can do something very important. And in the Nobel Prize, it is difficult for them to give, because CMS and Atlas, two experiments discovered the same thing with a very good statistic. And it is difficult to give Nobel Prize to 4,000 people. So they give the Nobel Prize to the physicists who propose. There are three, but one is died, donc the one here. And in this Nobel Prize, they say thanks to Atlas and CMS experiments. So it is right in the Nobel Prize. And Morocco will be there, and when this announce has been for Nobel Prize, we have the Atlas Week in Marrakesh. It's very important. The first time that Atlas Week, it's very important, has been in Africa and in Morocco at Marrakesh. And this collaboration with CERN is very important. First, this collaboration allows us to have collaboration, bilateral collaboration with South Africa, with France, with Spain, with Sweden, and with Moroccan diaspora. Because Moroccan diaspora is in all these countries. For example, currently, I have a student in co-direction for PhD with a Moroccan who are from Taiwan. So you see, all the country, now we began just with Taiwan. It's very important. And also for collaboration with CERN. Maha, you say that I have the first master physics, master in medical physics in Morocco. Why? Because when I went to CERN, it's for high energy physics, I discovered that they have many departments, IT, of course, but they have a department in medical physics. I say, what's that? I go, I have a meeting with the responsible of this department. Why? Because in CERN, you have all bodies say that in Geneva, they are the first one in patent. It's normal because the CERN is there. So you have accelerator, we can use the accelerator for radiotherapy. You have nuclear medicine, you use detectors. So all that is in CERN. I say, why we are not trying to do this? I create the first master, and after I create a group, a team working in medical physics, in simulation in medical physics, we can have better, it's very important. And here, we need exactly the same software we have in Atlas. So I always trying to do what I discover in this very big laboratory in the world, very large. I have also some action in Morocco to encourage science and women in science. The first, I participate in the creation, I push, and I participate in the creation of scientific clubs in high schools. I discovered they have no, when I am young, we have some little club, but here we are a young country, so we have many, many children, many young people. So it's a challenge for our country. And also, I always give public lecture in college, high school, engineering school, university, and also non-governmental organization. It's important to show that we can do many things, and women can do like a man. It's not a difference. And also, I am considered as a role model for young women. So my email is, my email, all the things are in the internet. So I have many messages and email from young women asking about that, what we can do. And I am here. For me, it's important to give time and to give answer to this young woman. It's my role. It's very important. And also, I am mentoring several women from different countries, also from rich countries, not only for developing countries. And regarding training and research, So, like I see, I develop training and research in particle physics, in high energy physics, it's the same, and in medical physics. And now we have many teams we have a very important network in Morocco. We have different universities working in the same area, and we have now a network, official network for our ministry. Donc, official network, and we work together, and we try to have a meeting twice or one per year. And I create a Master of Medical Physics. It's very important because now we have many hospitals in all the country. Oh, in the beginning, when I began that, we have only Rabat and Casablanca, the capital, industrial capital, and the official capital. And we have a big hospital, we have many private clinics. And now in Morocco, you have that. You have in all Morocco, in the north, in the east, so it's all this medical physics. And now I encourage some university to have some master like that. And this is very important because you have an idea. When I have been vice president, I try to have a master in that, a master in renewable energy. I am not in this, but I discovered that in CERN they have a department working in renewable energy. I say, why? They explain me why. I say, yes. So I put a master, and they call, we have a big university, very big university. We have around 100,000 students, so we have an idea. We have all the specialty, art, medicine, science, free engineering school. So I try to have a master for all the university and ask all professors from each institution to come and to give a course, a very pointing course for this master. And here I participate also in the development of Moroccan grid that allow analysis of Atlas data. It's very big, I can't give the number you see, and also medical physics simulation. And currently using artificial intelligence for data analysis. This is very important because this experiment, now we are in update of the experiment, in update of LHC also, and this we will have data for more than 20 years in the future. So, and we hope we will discover other questions. We have many responses. If you look at the universe, what we see around us is only 5%. And the other, we know with astroparticle and astrophysics that we have some energy and some matter. You say dark matter, it's difficult to see what is this dark matter. So we hope we will have response for all these questions. And I am also present for many committees in Morocco. And like here, I am president of the National Organization Committee of the French-speaking contest in Morocco about my thesis in 180 seconds. And I began in French. We're trying to do the same in Arabic and the same in English. So I want to call some colleagues to have a little time to help us to do that.
C'était ta dernière slide?
Ouais, ma بركش مزيان. I am also a member of many jury. I don't speak about the jury of thesis, PhD, defense of thesis. This I have around 60, more than 60 member of jury, but also and the selection committee and management board. And here I give the most important to help women in science. The first one, I am a member of the jury of the Maghreb Fellowship L'Oréal UNESCO for Women in Science. This is very important. You have a woman in PhD at the end of her PhD or just after her PhD, and we will give him a fellowship to stay 1 year in research, to be sure that she will like that stay here. And here, I am also member of the scientific committee of the Spanish Women's Foundation for Africa. It's to give grants to young women to stay in a Spanish laboratory. So we try to find money, and all the laboratory, important laboratory in Spanish, give money. And they can stay there, and you have all the specialty, all STEM are there. And also, I don't give one, it's very important. It's women in Africa. Women in Africa is also a foundation created by a French women, very good women, to give, we have a contest, and women who have to propose. In Africa, you have many women who try to have entrepreneurship. So if they have a good project, we give them money. And this is very important to begin his institution or his project. And I am member of the FLAIR Selection Committee. It's a future leader. It's help from African Independent Research from Royal Society. And we have also a Newton International Fellowship by Royal Society. And in Morocco, I try to give my expertise in being member of the management board of the Moroccan Agency for Safety and Nuclear Safety, and member of the management board of the Moroccan Center of Nuclear Energy Science and Technology, it's the CNESTEN. And Morocco is in Africa, so it is important to have collaboration with Africa. It's very important. So I participate to many African projects. Here I can give the one, it's very important, is the member of the International Science Council, you have that, but you have a regional committee for Africa. I participate for 4 years with them to try to give a solution for Africa in science. And I have also, I'm a member of the partnership academies, international, all the academies of science. We have an international academy partnership, and here they give they have money, of course, and I am member of a 3-year project to harnessing science, engineering, and medicine to address Africa's challenges. Of course, for SDGs, we try to have a response for SDGs. And for NASAC, it's the network of all African science academies. I am currently vice president for the NASAC. And here you see something very interesting, because I am invited to serve on the review panel of the Academy of Science of South Africa for the 5 years institution. And this is very important. The Hatteras, they call me to see if I have a response for them. And in November, just 3 months ago, I am assigned a member of this inter-academy partnership, which is in New York, to nominate for a committee, nomination and election committee for all the board of this IP. I think it's very important for women. So my conclusion, I think it is important to change perception, attitudes, behaviors, social norms, and stereotypes towards women in science. There is no difference. You like this, you can do this. And we have to engage girls and young women in STEM very early, in primary and secondary education. It's for that I give some conference at this level. And we have also to support women scientists through mentoring and the role models. It's very important for young people. And currently, we are trying to have books for little, because when they take books, they look at the other country, they don't look at their country, what they have. So we have books for school to propose, to show them some role model. And finally, we have, this is very important, to improve measurements and policies for gender equality in science. and promote women's participation in policy-making process. When you look in all countries in the world to the policy-making process, you have generally men and no women. So women have to be there to give her opinions, to give their decision. I think I give briefly some opinion, and thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Can we switch to the second presentation? Thank you, Rajah, for your, I'm going to take this chair. Thank you, Rajah, for your inspiring talk. And I have found a lot of relevant points that we will shortly discuss during our discussion. Now we're going to switch to another field, still science, but artificial intelligence, which is my field. But I have chosen today to make a different, to talk more about challenges and opportunities. And I'm going to end up with my own experience in the field. Promoting, I mean, not artificial intelligence, but promoting AI among girls and women. So let's start. Yes, I have to use that. Good. Sorry, I have to fix something. It won't be long. Okay. STEAM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We all know that STEAM fields are vital to the growth of our economies. That said, let's see what are the main facts and figures. Really easy slide to read, 80%. By 2013, 80% of our workforce jobs will need basic digital literacy. What does it mean? ICT skills, 80% of our jobs. So there is definitely some worth to gain there. Okay, STEAM professionals are expected to grow. We already said that. But to meet this need, we have to integrate to harness skills, abilities, and perspectives, but not for the full workforce in the society, and not only its male half. So according to the recent statistics, the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, women are less than 30% of the world's researchers in the world. And disparities are really different from a region to another one. So if we want to zoom in some numbers, you can see here that, there are good players. Even among the best players, we still not achieve in gender equality. So for example, for Central Asia, according to the last numbers of 2016, 48.2% of researchers, and this includes full-time and half-time researchers, are women. Of course, there are bad scores with a minimum achieved in South and West Asia, 80.5%. And if you make an average of all these numbers, you're going to find among more or less 30%, 29.3% of a worldwide average. Okay, but I asked myself, does it cost something for our economies? Does gender equality cost something for our countries? And the answer is yes. And to illustrate my talk, I have taken an example of Indonesia. According to a recent study, by 2013, Indonesia will face a shortage of 600,000 up to 1.2 million workers. And if you want to translate this shortage, you're going to face 21.8 billion of unrealized economic output. So the answer is not doing only gender equality for doing gender equality. There is there is an economy growth to gain there. Okay. So now that said, what are the main challenges that we, Professor Sharkawi, me, and of course all women researchers are facing in science, in STEAM fields? Gap in education. I wanted to start by education because this is exactly where everything starts. Education up to now, ladies and gentlemen, is still fooled by stereotypes. Stereotypes of gender, expectations regarding women's work, despite achievements of all genders, so girls and boys at early age, they are all performing similar achievements in sciences, but then men are the overwhelming majority when it comes to STEAM studies in higher education. And that's the question. What is happening in between? The women, and okay, there is another group of women. Those who have succeeded to reach STEAM careers, those are facing male-dominated workplaces with high rates of discrimination. The second point I want to highlight is stereotypes. Okay, gender social norms are perpetuating that boys and men are more suited for STEAM careers than girls and women. Women, when they are in their workplace, they are facing isolation. Why? And this was pointed by Professor Sharkawi. This is because they don't meet people like them. So role models, mentorship, peers, women peers, that helps to gain more confidence in workplace. Gap salary. And recent numbers are really scary. There is a really huge gap salary when it comes to comparing women with the male co-workers. Women leave STEAM careers. So even when they reach STEAM careers, this is a very disproportional rate. They leave their careers, especially among women, among parents. Women. So when they have a baby, most of the time women have to leave their careers. And bias in STEAM, but in STEAM products. You know, the impact of not having women involved in sciences has a great impact on technology. The technology that the humanity is developing, men and females. And to illustrate more this last point, I'm going to switch to my field, which is artificial intelligence. The question is, I couldn't just skip this part of, is there any gap, gender gap, any bias when it comes to artificial intelligence and digitization? And the answer is yes. An example. If now you are looking for an emoji of CEO, you're gonna have an emoji of a businessman. Yes, I already tried this. Yes. And you know why? Because machine learning, which is the process of how algorithms are learning from data, they are based on associations. And when developers and programmers, mainly males, are feeding their algorithms with male examples, so they're gonna associate this is what we call contextual associations. They're gonna just associate men with CAO and not women. So an emoji of CAO is going to be a businessman. Another example, but this one, I should confess, Google removed it. So I used to present this when I was studying in North America. So there are some non-biased languages like Turkish, and in Turkish, I'm sorry if there is someone from Turkey here. O bir hemşire, o bir doctor. So non-gendered languages, they use O for both female and male. And if you use Google Translate, which is the translation tool of Google, you're gonna find she's a nurse and he's a doctor. Okay. No comment, right? But this was solved, This was solved. So now if you tap this, you're gonna find she's a doctor. They even did better. She's a doctor and she's a nurse. Just to solve the problem. Okay, the impact of pandemics. And while preparing my presentation, I was like, okay, Maha, for sure, your audience is gonna ask, why talking about pandemic, right? When it's about women in science. Okay, I'm going to make it clearer. COVID-19 pandemic was deepening pre-existing inequalities that we're finding in our societies, exposing vulnerabilities, either social, political, or economical systems. And it amplifies these vulnerabilities. If you take the last UNESCO study, COVID-19 has uncovered vulnerabilities in our societies, and it's mainly females' vulnerabilities. Women have lost their jobs. They have dropped out the labor force. There was a surge in gender-based violence. But COVID-19, there was Ebola before COVID-19, and it was mainly in Africa. And you know what? 85% of the traders in markets were female. So when lockdowns, quarantines, so prevention measures have been applied in Africa, most of them have lost their jobs. So, easy to understand. If we encourage women in science, they're gonna earn more money, they're gonna have added value jobs, better jobs, and they're gonna be less vulnerable to those crises, climate change, wars, pandemics, every crisis we can face as humanity. Okay, I do agree, you have to really pinch it. Achievements, because we can't talk only about what is wrong in our society, right? There is also huge improvements that as a societies we were achieving. February, personally, this is one of my favorites day. February 11th was proclaimed recently, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, as the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. And this celebration is part of a larger effort of the UN nations and the worldwide nations to promote gender equality and to close the gender gap. For example, there is a whole sustainable development goal, I think this number 6, which is gender equality, equality in education, equality in health. Network. So another important point is that, flexible workplace initiatives are very important. So for women who are facing mobility challenges or some disabilities, why not working online? Mentorship. And Professor Sharkawi, you really mentioned a lot of great examples of mentorship. Mentorship is really important, especially when it comes to the transition from education to the workplace. This transition is crucial. Of course, I can't skip Morocco's case, because honestly, we did great achievements. So the first one, at policymakers level, Morocco has got a strategic plan for the institutionalization of gender equality in the education system through the Article 19 of the Moroccan Constitution of 2011. So let's read this article. The man and the woman enjoy in equality the rights and freedoms of civil, political, economic, social, cultural, and environmental character announced in this title, and in the other provisions of the Constitution, as well as in the international conventions and pacts duly ratified by Morocco, mainly the United Nations 1, with respect to the provisions of the Constitution. An authority for parity and the struggle against all forms of discrimination is created to this effect. So this first level is for policymakers. What about universities? Because I'm a professor, I'm a university professor, so we have to talk about efforts in academia. UMF, which is Euromed University of Fès, was selected following an international call of tenders among IUF, French-speaking universities agency, a worldwide agency, to achieve gender equality on their campuses. So the goal, of course, is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls in education. There is an important aspect when it comes to research, is encouraging women to participate and, or foremost important, to lead. It's important to lead, not only to participate. We can start by participating, but we have to lead cutting-edge research. You know what cutting-edge research means for me? When you have a research project which solves problems pertinent, relevant, important for your country, your region, and why not for your continent? And here, I'm gonna present really briefly one of my favorite ongoing research projects, which was, so this is a flagship, African flagship project. We got it from a few months ago in Nairobi. I was in Nairobi in November last year, and this flagship aims to ensure food security, a key issue in Africa, and water shortage, to ensure water, to promote the sustainable use of water in Africa through the use of artificial intelligence. And Morocco is leading, but we have to mention that we are helped by 4 other countries: Rwanda, Egypt, Zimbabwe, and okay, I missed it, I'm sorry. But it's gonna come back. So 4 other countries, we're not the only one. But a woman is leading it, so it's okay. Okay, so here here the pictures are taken in Morocco with my team. We were recently, that was a few weeks before coming here, we were installing a sensor in the drone. And this drone is using AI algorithm to scan farms and to detect either there is a water shortage, there is a need in harvesting something, there is a problem in the soil, everything. So making affordable AI to local farmers, African farmers, and help them making good decisions and sustainable ones. And then I'm coming to don't be afraid, even if you see 2 men, but there is a woman behind. So recently, last year, I was awarded by a chair. And this chair is a partnership between Islamic World ISISCO, Islamic World Education Scientific and Cultural Organization, as well as Euromed University of Fes. And they have decided to promote AI among girls and women all over the world. And so they have created the chair, Women in Science, Artificial Intelligence, and the Future. So 4 objectives, I'm gonna be very quick because there is a video to illustrate all what we're doing in this chair. So we have 4 objectives: building a talent, training women to be scientists, to be AI leaders of tomorrow, developing knowledge, so intensifying scientific production made by, so papers in famous journals made by women, ensuring the transfer to companies, and that's important because you mentioned internship and entrepreneurship, and this is important also, involving the community. We are doing a lot of things from summer schools workshop on a very cutting-edge research like reinforcement learning, MOOCs, to make affordable digitization in AI for girls who are in rural areas, for example. Lifelong learning, because science is not only AI. So, for example, we already made affordable AI to physicians, to architects, to engineers from different fields. Scholarship programs, mainly for PhD and postdoc, internship programs, and this is one of my favorite activities, AI bootcamps. Because as Professor Sharkawi mentioned before, if you want really to make a difference, you have to start at an early age. Okay, can we please have the video?
شاء الله غنخليهم في عقلي ونحاول أنني نحافظ على هذا.
So I'm going to end up with this last slide. Please, you can scan the QR code, if you want to follow us, see our websites and follow our activities on social medias. Please do so. And of course, you can reach me if ever you want any more information or if you have any questions. Thank you. On y va? Ouais. May I ask the audience if you have any question for both of us before starting some questions? Yes, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you to both the professors for, this particular event has been surprising for me particularly because I didn't expect to meet two really smart and wonderful women here.
Thank you.
My question is to both of you. Mm-hmm. We talk about one aspect of masculine, primarily in STEM work, right? The example that you gave about AI with just the male perspective coming in, what's the importance of a feminine perspective coming in, either policy making or research? I mean, what's the outcome? Why is it important? Why the feminine perspective is important in what we are creating, either policies or anything?
Yes, sure. Tu veux que je te traduise? Non,
oui.
Pourquoi le rôle de la femme est important dans les prises de décision, oui, dans la recherche.
I will speak in French. I'm more fluent. I can speak English, but I'm more fluent in French. And I think you can...
Of course, I can do translation of the summary. Yes.
Tout est fait, quand on regarde les décideurs, hein, tout est fait par des hommes et en fonction des hommes. Il y a certaines sociétés dans le monde qui ont réfléchi comme une femme. C'est-à-dire que la femme, on ne s'en rend pas compte. On est différent, un homme d'une femme. Mais par contre, ce qu'on peut donner est la même chose. Mais comme tout ce qui est fait, on regarde autour de nous, hein, dans le monde, tout est fait par des hommes. Il n'y a rien qui s'adapte au raisonnement de la femme. Et ça, je l'ai vu autour de moi. Par exemple, des décisions, des comités de décision. Parfois, il y a une femme ou deux, et quand elle propose quelque chose qui est logique vis-à-vis d'une femme, les hommes disent « mais ça n'a pas de sens ici », et alors que c'est vraiment logique. Et ça, on doit c'est pour ça que j'oblige. Bon, moi, je me suis consacrée entièrement à la recherche, j'ai fait vice-présidente, j'ai amené beaucoup pour l'université, mais je bouge vraiment les jeunes femmes, je les oblige chaque fois qu'il y a un poste de responsabilité à se présenter. Alors pourquoi? Dans ma carrière, j'ai vu chaque fois qu'il y a un appel d'un poste. Tu peux traduire? Oui.
So, gender equality is very important because when you leave decisions to male only, they're not bad in doing that, but they forgot to take into account the woman aspect of it. So that's why it's important to have women lying on the boards, taking strategic positions. So she gonna talk about an example, and when you have some positions, open positions, women gonna all the time say, no, I'm not responding to this criteria. I'm not really in this. I should do more to be in equitance to this criteria, but men's won't. So you're gonna all the time have this. Est-ce que tu voulais parler, Rajah, pardon, de l'aspect où on se dévalorise par rapport à
oui, c'est très
critères.
important.
C'est ça.
Oui. Alors, il y a une chose d'abord qui est importante, si on regarde autour de nous, les femmes dans des positions très importantes, chefs d'État, elles se sont bien débrouillées en Allemagne, on le voit, et d'autres pays. Si on regarde, par exemple, le FMI, c'est une femme. Madame Lagarde qui se débrouille très bien. Donc, il n'y a pas de différence. Alors, autre chose qu'on remarque chez les femmes, quand il y a un poste de responsabilité, il faut se présenter ou être nominé pour avoir ce poste. Une femme va regarder le poste. Elle va voir toutes les responsabilités du poste. S'il y a un détail qu'elle ne comprend pas, elle va avoir peur, elle va s'auto-censurer, elle ne va pas se présenter. Et moi, dans ma carrière, j'ai vu des hommes qui se jettent dans des postes, ils ne savent même pas ce qu'il y a dedans. J'avais vu un président d'université autour de moi, des directeurs, et je lui dis, mais tu ne connais rien dans ce poste, je le sais, je connais mieux que toi. Il m'a dit, c'est pas grave, j'apprendrai sur le temps. Donc une femme le fera ça.
So we have a lot of examples, well no, we don't have much examples of that, but when you have a woman leader leading a country, like in Germany, she did a great job. IFMI, International Monetary Fund, so with Christine Lagarde, and even the second president of l'IFMI is also a female, right?
Yes.
So both UNESCO, she didn't mention the UNESCO, but there are great worldwide organizations, leaders of countries, and when women they have the opportunity to lead those organizations, they are doing a great job. So what is the difference? And she mentioned something I was talking about before. So when you have an open position, women gonna see all the criteria, and she or they gonna say, okay, no, I'm not really complying to this criteria, so I'm gonna drop it. And there is this, men have, with respect to all men that are present here in the audience, they have this self-confidence, and they're gonna push. So this was the answer of Professor Rajah. So my answer to complete her answer is gonna be very technical. So really, if you see products that are designed by males only, they forgot to think about us. I showed you bias, but it's not only a gender issue, it's only a race issue. In America, in USA, they developed a prototype with image recognition. And people, developers and programmers, mainly white males, they have simply forgotten to include people, African American people. And a researcher there, a very brightful researcher, she tested the algorithm, the mechanism, the prototype, and the prototype wasn't working for her. So you can also have race. So it's not a matter of gender. It's a matter of including the diversity, wherever diversity is, minorities, visible minorities, races, genders. So hopefully I answered your question. We answered your question. Yeah. Is there any other question from the audience?
Je voudrais ajouter quelque chose.
Sure.
Parfois, dans une organisation, on dit, au départ, on veut tant de pourcents de femmes. On va arriver, par exemple, on veut dans ce comité 30% de femmes. Et parfois, je ne suis pas d'accord, parce que je dis, mais si vous avez que des femmes qui n'ont pas un bon niveau, vous allez les prendre? Non, moi je veux que chacun soit pris en fonction de ce qu'il sait, de ce qu'il va ramener à ce comité. Un homme ou une femme, c'est aux femmes de se battre et d'arriver là. On ne donne jamais de cadeaux. Certaines femmes me disent, ah mais les hommes ne nous laissent pas du tout. Les hommes se battent entre eux, ben nous aussi on va se battre et on va voir ce qu'on veut.
And doing gender equality for doing gender equality is not really a good decision, because you have to take the best person for open position. So sometimes she faced situations where they have to increase statistics, you know, and I already faced that. You are in some companies, really well-known companies, and they say, okay, no, we have reached equality, we have 51%. But when it comes to the board, when it comes to strategic positions, they are mainly men's. So we can make different perspectives from the same number, and we don't have to hire women to hire women. We have to hire women because they are good in this, suitable for this position. So if you don't have further questions, I would like to ask two or three questions to Professor Rajah Sharkawi. So as mentioned in my presentation, with COVID-19 and Ebola pandemics, but also climate changes, wars, African women are more vulnerable to those crises. And they face precariousness. What are the specific strategies that we as African countries should adopt to increase and to encourage women in sciences?
Alors, quand tu parles de la Covid ou le changement climatique, on sait qu'on a en Afrique, on a un stress hydrique qui va être de plus en plus grave. On aura un problème d'agriculture. Mais quand on regarde la femme en Afrique, je parle en général, la femme en Afrique, souvent, dans le milieu rural, c'est elle qui va aller chercher l'eau. Parce qu'elle a sa famille, elle va nourrir sa famille, elle va tout faire pour nourrir. Elle va chercher l'eau, elle va chercher le bois, tout ce qu'il faut pour nourrir sa famille. Et donc, si on n'essaie pas d'étudier des stratégies pour aider ces femmes qui vont se trouver avec un problème changement climatique, un problème d'eau, de potable, d'eau pour se laver, tout, on ne peut pas avancer. C'est quasiment impossible. Alors, et autour de moi, j'ai fait plusieurs pays en Afrique, j'ai assisté à plusieurs réunions en Afrique, et je me suis rendu compte que les jeunes femmes africaines avaient une très grande personnalité, avaient beaucoup d'idées. Et c'est pour ça que je suis rentrée dans la fondation Women in Africa, parce que cette fondation aide les femmes qui ont des idées à entreprendre. Donc il faut pousser ces femmes à créer leur petite société, même si elle est petite, c'est l'idée. Et certaines femmes sont vraiment parties de très loin. Et j'ai vu une scientifique africaine qui faisait les villages pour essayer de travailler avec eux et de leur expliquer qu'est-ce qu'ils pouvaient changer pour vivre mieux. Et j'ai trouvé ça exceptionnel, exceptionnel.
Très bien. So, should I translate or yes? Okay. So she faced so Professor Rajah Sharkawi was sharing with us her experience in Africa. So African women, if we take the example of water shortage, African women are the ones who are bringing water from very far places to their homes, taking in charge the bath of their child, the cooking and everything, all these domestic tasks. So African women gonna be the first victims of water shortage, of climate changes. As in my example, if there is any other pandemic, women all over the world gonna be the first victims. If you also something I want to add, I want to complete with another idea coming to the pandemics. So in this time in rich developed countries, nurses and people in healthcare were mainly women, and they were the one doing a lot of sacrifices. Women who had lost their job, or women who had kept their job, but they had to do jobs at home also. So if you see, and those are just examples, there are so many others that we cannot mention, but each time there is a crisis somewhere, woman is gonna be the first, because she's vulnerable. And why she's vulnerable? Because as I said, she is not in STEAM, she's not in a strategic job position to make decisions, to change her life and to change other women's life. Pardon, tu avais mentionné aussi l'exemple, oui, entrepreneurship is the key element to help women. In Africa, entrepreneurship, so she really gave a good example of how we can create wellness through small companies, entrepreneurships, helping them to create wellness around them because they are smart. Even if they are not educated, we earn PhDs, postdocs, but this is not the only way to reach wellness. You can do so by just having a good knowledge, a good understanding of your daily mechanisms and environment, and how to create wellness from there. Hopefully we answered this question.
Yes.
I think you answered mine at least.
C'est important. On essaie de voir, par exemple, dans cette fondation, contacter les banques, tous les organismes qui ont des moyens financiers et pour aider ces jeunes femmes. Elles ne peuvent pas toutes seules. Donc, il faut que les gens qui connaissent un peu ce qui se passe dans le monde, agissent. J'ai eu la chance de rentrer dans cette fondation, que j'admire la présidente de cette fondation, qui fait beaucoup pour l'Afrique. Et franchement, on a vu des jeunes filles briller. J'ai vu, dans toute l'Afrique, bien sûr, mais j'ai vu une fille dernièrement à Marrakech qui est en doctorat, qui termine sa thèse, et qui a toujours voulu faire des trucs artisanaux, marocaine, mais très moderne. Mais il lui faut des moyens. Donc, on lui a trouvé les moyens. Elle a ouvert, et maintenant, elle a des commandes de partout dans le monde, et surtout les États-Unis. Elle fait des sacs, des chapeaux très originaux, mais en même temps en utilisant l'artisanat marocain.
Okay. So, another example she was given, that we, as women in sciences, if we wanted to endorse this role of mentors and role models, we have to raise funds. Because African women and women in general, they cannot do. I mean, at least there are some programs in North countries, but at least let's talk about the African women. They need funds, and we have to raise funds, and we have to know from where we getting money to those women. And she mentioned the PhD student of her. She was in Marrakech, and she did a kind of startup with to promote traditional and artisanal products from Morocco. And she did great because actually she has customers all over the world, mainly in USA. Do we have more time? No. Okay. So we don't have more time for other questions. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.